Alright, so this is going to be a real quick video because I got a lot of buddies at work that pay like 60 bucks to get their oil changed on their car. So we're 10 seconds in right now, keep in mind that, right? So here's how easy it is. This is a Ford Fiesta 2017 13 millimeter socket right here. Break that loose, that's the oil drain. Alright. Pay 60 bucks to have this done at a car dealership or a Jiffy Lube or something like that. Bam. Alright. While that's draining, I forgot to grab a rag. I'm gonna run and grab a rag. Got one here, but it's frozen. Gotta get another one. Alright, I'm back with a rag, still draining, so no time lost. You got the 13 millimeter socket. Take the oil plug out, take your plug, wipe it off. If you don't got gloves on, it's gonna be all crappy putting it back in. The oil filter is right here. I don't think you can see that. I got this big pan. It's a concrete mixing pan. About $5 at Lowe's. So I can do two things at once here. I'm gonna pull the filter as I'm draining. Different types of wrenches. This is more like a channel lock style. I got another one, I can't find it. It goes on the ratchet. The filter for this car, if you're buying a Fram, is a 3614. Fram sells different ones. They got ones for full synthetic. They got Tough Guard, Extra Guard, Ultra Guard. I think that's all a matter of personal preference. You change your oil regularly, it really doesn't have a chance to get all crapped up too bad. I think oil changes, people have varying opinions on them also. I switch my cars out from brand new to full synthetic. I do every 5,000 miles. It's easier to keep track of. You ain't got to put a sticker in the window. 5,000 miles, change the oil. 10,000 miles, change the oil. 15,000, change the oil. So on and so forth. As long as you can count by fives, you get the drift. You know? I got my new filter. Put a little oil on the rubber gasket on the filter. Just a little, wet your finger, put some oil on it. That way if it heats up, it doesn't melt to the seating surface where it goes. It's gonna be some oil accumulated off the filter housing. You can just wipe that off. It'll get all crapped up with road dust and everything else, if not over the years. Just wipe it off real quick. Oil filters install. I've been doing it myself since I was a teenager. I think like a quarter turn past snug is good. You can pretty much put them on hand tight. I always go as tight as I can by hand, and I just give them a little snug with the wrench. And I think that might be overkill, but I never had one fall off. I never had one leak, so, and I ain't never had one get stuck where I couldn't get it off. So I stick with that. That's probably a little more than a quarter turn, probably more like a full turn, but it's got a weird system that goes up in between the hoses. There's a hose clamp. It's cutting my finger every time I touch it too, so it's a pain in the butt. All right. Now, I guess if you got OCD, you can sit there and wait for that oil to drip out all day long. I don't wait that long. Once it stops flowing, I'm done. I'm putting it back in. Again, that's a 13mm socket goes on that. Make sure it on this Ford, it's got a little rubber gasket on the plug. Mine was still on there, so it's still in good shape. I'm gonna continue to use it. Multi-purpose mixing tray. That's what that thing's called from Lowe's. It's for concrete. Works good. Tighten that up, nice and snug. There you go. We are 5 minutes and 28 seconds in with me forgetting a rag and some other nonsense. And that's about it. The bottom end's done. Here's the top of the motor. As you can see right there is where the oil goes. Most oil caps tell you what they take. This car takes 520. Just buy what they recommend. Easy enough. I don't know if I did. Yeah, I got 520. Castro Edge. Doing this, you're probably going to want to throw a funnel in there, because if not, oil is going to go everywhere. Get your funnel. If you're like me and your funnels lay outside, they're all crapped up. But just make sure you wipe it out. Get any dirt off of it, especially sand. You don't want no sand in your motor. Just clean her out a little bit. Good to go. Most cars take about 4 quarts. What I do, I usually throw 3 in and then get it off the stands so it's flat on the ground. Check it again and just top it off while it's sitting flat. This jug only had about 3 quarts in it from a previous oil change. So got about 3 in there right now. Some cars take 3.5. My little car, my other car only takes 3.5. I don't remember if this one takes 3.5 or 4. Make sure you put the cap on before you start it. Because it'll bubble out. Good time if you got leaves and stuff under your hood. Get them out. Keep your engine clean. Alright, make sure you ain't going to run over your oil pan. Or take the car down off the stands and land on it. Easy enough. Jump in. Fire it up. Emergency brake off. Put your emergency brake on if you're using stands, especially front wheel drive car, because the back wheels just spin free. Shut her off. Back out here. Here's the oil. This is the dipstick for those that ain't never done it. Take your dipstick out. And trying to get a good spot for this camera. Here we go. We are 9 minutes in now. Pull the dipstick. It'll have a line on it showing you where it's full, where it's not full, what's acceptable. Right now we got 3 quarts in and she ain't reading, so this car definitely takes 3.5 to 4. Put the rest of this one in there. And about every half quart, check the dipstick, because you'd be surprised. It can go from empty to full in a half quart, especially in these smaller cars that only take 3 to 4 quarts. You know, trucks are different. Trucks take a lot more oil, a lot of them. power stroke I got takes it's ridiculous. It's like 2.5 gallons of oil. It's like 10 quarts or something, 12 quarts maybe even. We're just now starting to read on the stick, so probably about a half quart. Put another quart to half quart in there. Check it one more time. Let's see what we got. You spill any oil on top of the motor, you want to wipe it up. For one, just because it turns into dirty goo if not. But for two, if you ever run into a problem and you get an oil leak somewhere, you're not going to know where it's at, because you got oil from the oil changes all over the place. This is my wife's car. My car is 5 years older than her. My engine looks like it's 5 years newer. I do about a little bit, maybe a quarter at a time. You'd be surprised. It'll go from needing oil to being full really quick. So I don't know if you can see, there's two little marks. The mark here, it's hard to point to. The mark closest to this end here, this mark is just reading. When it's full, it'll come to this mark. You don't want to go above it. Putting too much oil in the motor's just as bad, if not worse, than putting not enough oil in it. Too much oil will give you too much head pressure, and it can make bad things happen. Too little oil and you'll have all kind of nice sounds coming out of your motor, knocking and pinging and everything else. This is taking a little longer, but if you know for a fact your car takes 4 quarts, you'll put 4 quarts in it, and you probably would have been done a minute ago, 2 minutes ago. In any event, I'm full now. I'll show you. I'm wiping oil off the dipstick every time. You can see I got oil right to the second line. So now it's full, it's good. It's been 13 minutes. You can go to any, probably go to Walmart and get you some oil. 5 quarts of oil at Walmart is going to cost you anywhere between, depending what brand you buy, if you buy Pennzoil or Valvoline or Castrol Edge. Castrol is about 27. You can pick up Valvoline for about 25. You can pick up Pennzoil for about 20, 22. You can catch Castrol Edge on sale. I'm done the oil change, by the way. It was 13 minutes. You can get Castrol Edge. It used to be, I think, GTX. You can pick up Castrol on sale sometimes for $22 for 5 quarts. You'll definitely get more than one oil change out of 5 quarts. You'll get about 1 1/4, 1 1/2, depending. Some of these smaller cars are, like I said, 3 1/2 quarts. You can do your homework on oil. I think full synthetic, they're all the name brands are pretty much relatively the same. It's just brand preference. I don't know that any of them does anything to make their oil any better. Oil nowadays is so far from what it used to be. Synthetic oil, your car will do great. If your car's higher mileage, I would say probably like around 50 to 60,000 miles, and you've ran regular oil in it its whole life, it's probably not a good time to switch over to synthetic. The synthetic has more detergent. It'll break loose the carbon deposits, and on some of your motors, you'll start to hear pinging and knocking. I had a 5.3 Chevy. With about 60,000, I switched over, and it just had valve chatter, I guess, from all the carbon cleaning up with the cleaner oil. So it probably wasn't a good move. I think synthetic's the way to go from the start or early on in a vehicle's life. If you wait too long, you're probably not hurting the motor. It's probably still doing better, but the motor will get a little noisier because it cleans it better. That was my understanding of what I read about it and all. So, but that's it. I mean, our oil filter, if you go to Walmart, probably the cheapest place. I mean, AutoZone and them are up pretty much. You're going to get a filter anywhere from $5 to $10, and you're going to get 5 quarts of oil anywhere from $20 to $27. So on the low end, you'd spend $25 if you bought a $5 filter and $22 oil. You get $27 for an oil change. A synthetic oil change at any dealership or any Jiffy Lube or something like that, they're going to cost you anywhere from $50 to $60. You're saving half the money. And this is a 15-minute video that I was done in 13 minutes, and I probably would have been done soon. I probably could have had this whole thing done in 10 if I really was not trying to make a video, and I just got down there, pulled the plug, pulled the filter, put it back in, threw my oil in, and was done. So you're talking 10 minutes to save yourself $25. I've done my oil changes since I was 16 years old. I'm not paying somebody to change my oil. I think it's ridiculous. Unless you physically can't or something like that. But if you're older and you're not into it, and you got a kid, I'm teaching my oldest son now. He's 12 years old. He knows how to change the oil. And, you know, I was a kid. My dad taught me how to do my brakes and change my oil when I was 15, 16 years old. So these are things that kids can do it. Somebody show them. It ain't hard. I mean, some of the other stuff in the cars nowadays is harder, but basic stuff, oil changes, brakes, there's still stuff that we can do without paying somebody to do them. So anybody doing an oil change, I hope this helps you out, save you a couple bucks. Like I said, this is a 2017 Ford Fiesta, 13mm socket for the oil pan bolt, the drain bolt, I guess you would call it, and they sell different variations of filter wrenches. Just grab yourself a filter wrench. The filter is a 3614 if you're buying a Fram. Take some of the work out of it for you. And the car takes 520 oil, and that's either if you buy synthetic or conventional. So again, hope this helps. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it.